fuck out here. I don't know what Black Mamba's about, but I know there she is. Black Mamba's in the building. She made it. Well, come on now. Still a little hot. Gracious, yeah, a lot of ginger in that. It's a lot of ginger in this tea, man. So what's happening, people? We got this content that's going down tonight, man, and just trying to make sure you make an impact as always, family. I see my people in the building. What's up, Fearless Mind? What's happening? LJ in the place. Man. Yo. We are up and running. Diamond G's in the house. What's up, Diamond? Amber. Galaxy Crom is in the building. Okay, Quince QR's in the building. Honestly Telling's back again. What's up, Honest? Trust No Party's in the building. What's up, Trust? Yo, man. We're going to talk about that trust thing tonight, man. What's up, Skeptical Jerk? Yo, what is up? What is up? What is up? Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, Johnson. Yeah, Johnson. We in the building. Wow, trying to keep it sorted, man. Trying to get it all organized, man. Wow, what a last couple of hours, man. I've been cramming to understand. You just don't know. Man. So, wow. Tonight's show brought to you by none other than the Tim Black Legacy mug right here. At your disposal, $20 to your door. It's the Legacy mug. Politics for the people, right? Dishwasher, microwave, and hit it safe. Get yours, go to timblackmug.com and pick one up. We have the Tim Black Wolfpack in the building, man. I got to get my original Wolfpack shirts out to everybody. Man, that's the jam, man. I miss the old Wolf, man, don't you? I know what I'm talking about. That was the jam. Gosh. The new Wolf just don't hit like the old Wolf, you know? Oh, that's better. Got to get the throat going. So how y'all feeling, man? What is up, man? Who's in the building, man? DC Precise. What up, P? Black Rose is in the house. Yeah, Georgia Sweet. I know, man. Georgia Sweet says, Tim, Israel is attacking. As soon as I went to click and move. Israel is attacking Iran. Fam. What the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? What the hell is going on? Man, now I'm really feeling like these little protests been a distraction, man. That's how I'm feeling right now. When I saw that, I said, uh-oh. I made you look. Feel like a Nas song. I made you look. What is going on, people? What is happening? What is happening? Look, if you're new to the show, this is a Tim Black show. We do politics, U.S. politics here, breaking news in Black culture. And we do our best to do that unbiased. We are not driven by any party, nor are we affiliated with any party. We do not cape for any party. We are here, and I'm very upfront and honest, and I tell folks every time, I say, look, I'm what you call a Democratic Party hater, but that's for a reason. I got reasons. They've lied to my people for about 60 years. That's one reason. Republicans ain't lied one time. They've been who they say they're going to be. But Democrats, on the other hand, take us for granted, and then now they trying to bring in a whole new crop of black people that aren't black people. You know what I'm saying? And stand them up as a community and dilute our votes. I got a lot of issues with the Democratic Party. If you don't have an issue with the Democratic Party and you're a black American that's aware of anything that's going on and you're not working for the Democrats, I got to ask you, man, How long are you going to drink the Kool-Aid? I just got to ask you. Do you realize we own just about the same amount of property we own since we started voting for them exclusively? We went from 2% ownership and, how can I say this? No. What's the actual number? Yeah, I think we're like 40%. About 40%, if I'm not mistaken. Home ownership for Black Americans was 40% in 1960. Today, it's about 40%. We haven't moved one iota. You know who moved past us? Latinos, Hispanics, and new arrivals. You know what happened to Black Americans? White Americans were at 70%, and they're still hovering around 70-75%. Owning their own home. Anybody who knows economics and knows how it works in the United States, typically that's where most of our wealth is kept. Working class people particularly, especially. So when you don't own a home, you don't own property, more than likely, you don't own much nest egg, which means you're going to have a hard time retiring, which means you don't really have anything to hand down to your kids. Now, the fact we've been voting for the same party since 1964, I got a problem with that. Who else do you want me to blame for that? So when people want to have these conversations, they want to cape for the Democrats. They want to look over there and say, we got mean orange man Trump. These are the things that I'm thinking about when I don't go along. I'm thinking about the fact we have not increased our wealth under the Democrats. I'm thinking about we haven't increased our home ownership. These are the things that are going through my mind. So when people want to just dismiss me, when they want to just dismiss me as a hater, as a bad guy, these are the things I care about. What are they caring about? If I'm worried about the fact we don't own our homes, the fact we ain't increasing our wealth standing in this country, and other groups are coming in and usurping us and moving past us, meanwhile, the Democrats pat us on the head and say stuff like, if it wasn't for you, blacks, I never would have made it. I got your back. If this is what having our back looks like, who needs it? Y'all feel what I'm saying? That makes sense to y'all? You know, I could be like everybody else, you know. I could be like these people that hate on me, the people that say they down with me. They get in front of a live audience and say, Tim, I love your message. Tim, I love what you're about. And then ghost me. And then talk shit because I don't roll with the Democrats. Yo, this has really happened. Not that long ago. Here's the thing, Johnson. If I'm standing on business about Black Americans and I got a problem with the Democrats, what are they standing on? What would be their retort to me saying, hey, what's up with the home ownership under the Democratic Party? Why hasn't that moved? 5, 10, 15 points, 20 points. Why hasn't it moved? We've been giving them our votes 95% of the time for the last 45, 50 years. Why haven't we grown in that aspect? Now, either you're going to be racist and say, Tim, well, it's just that you blacks just don't want anything. We can't make you succeed. You're a bunch of failures. You listen to the rap music. So do white people. Well, in fact, they listen to more rap music than we do. Well, we don't know. Tim, we just don't have an answer. Yeah, what would be their response, Johnson? What could they pull out of their asses? See, at the end of the day, it's like this. The people that are supposed to be in solidarity with me, you know what they're doing? Worried about themselves. Anybody can do that. That's what they're doing. They're saying, you know what, this is a lost cause. I'm just going to go ahead and get my pockets right. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're saying this is a lost cause. America's always going to step on black people. They're on the bottom caste in this country. It's evident by the way the Democrats move. So we're just going to worry about ourselves. That's really what they want to say, but they don't have the guts to say it. And if they did say it, they'd be ostracized by their own party. So they can't tell the truth. All they can do is throw me under the bus and people like me. When I say me, anybody who's bold enough to say it with their chest. See, I don't have hate for people coming to this country. And I would have to imagine that a lot of the people that are coming to this country, if we were in their country, if we were coming to their country, in their position in that country was like our position is in this country, I imagine they would be similar to me. Actually, I think they'd be worse. I think they'd be more critical because they have what you call white supremacy running through their veins too. They don't even like their own dark-skinned black people. See what I'm saying? These are the things I'm thinking about when I'm getting criticism from people who I thought, supported or understood. Most of the time they don't understand. They don't have a firm grasp of reality. If I went to Mexico, if President, and I was just talking about it earlier today, if the president of Mexico, which is a woman, if she started bringing in black Americans, and in 10, 15 years, we own more property, we start owning higher rates of property and wealth than Mexicans, what you think they do? I just want to know. I want somebody to be honest with me. Can somebody be honest? You critics and you people that write me and you complain and you sour because you want to kumbaya. Answer the question honestly. What do you think the president of Mexico would do? And what do you think the people of Mexico would do? If black Americans start migrating to Mexico, and you looked up and 10 years later, we own by capita more property and more wealth than Mexicans. What do you think they would do? You think there'd be a Tim Black version of me going, Arriba! Revolution! Do you think they'd be upset? Would that mean they hate me? Would they be standing on business for their people? See, in America, we got such a problem with people respecting black people. Even our friends ain't our fucking friends. Even our friends aren't our friends. They racist and don't even know it. Because you and I both know you would totally understand the scenario I just laid out. You totally understand and get that. But when I flip it and say, what about America? You go, whoa, 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 whoa. Because you like it in theory when it applies to others, but you don't like it applying here for us. The fact we built this country for free against our will, you don't. At the end of the day, you really, truly, truly do not, you are not moved by it. It's just words to you. It is just words. And that's why we're where we at, because we got a lot of people that they pay off like the Al Sharptons. You know what I'm saying? They just get paid off, man. They get paid off, they get brought off, they get run off, or they get done off. It's okay if you're 26 years old and you don't know shit. And you're virtual signaling out of your ass thinking that makes you a good person. Not realizing that part of the reason why black people have any rights in this country because people stood up. And millions of black Americans died with less rights than the common house pet. And America was fine with it, for the most part. So it is going, it is. It's just interesting, man. It's just interesting when I hear these people, man. When I see what's going on, when I look at it, when we examine it for what it is. There's no sense of urgency. By people that urgency should be the rule of the day. There's no deliberate action. And everybody wants everything to intersect. I'll say this, and then we'll move on with the show. If I'm a fireman, and we got a fire engine, and we respond to a fire alarm, and we get to the block where they say a fire is, and if I get there and I see a house that's on fire, flames shooting to the top of the sky, and I look over and I see another house, no fire going on. Or maybe the front yard has some embers in the front yard on the grass. But the house is intact, there's no fire in the house. Does it make any sense? Would you understand if I go put water on the house that's burning? You'd say, oh, Tim, yeah, that's the emergency. No, you don't. That's not what you think. Now, when it's applied to black people, and I want to know, why is that? Why is it when I apply that logic in real time to black America, all of a sudden you can't see it. You can't see the logic. You say, everybody's house is on fire. I say, no, there's no flames coming out of that house over there. This is the house with the flames shooting out of it and the baby screaming. So you would understand it then. You say you understand. I don't think you get it, man. You know what? It's not my job to stop what I'm doing just because you don't understand what I'm doing, because I know what the hell I'm doing. You think you know what you're saying. You think you know what you're doing. And if you do, you're anti-black. I like to assume that you don't know. At least then, you have an excuse. Lord knows the Democratic Party does not communicate anything I just laid out to you the way I just laid it out, do they? I mean, it's not as if Rachel Maddow goes on the show or Joy Reid goes on the show, or used to, come out and kind of lay things out like I just did. Don't do that. Instead, what they'll do is they offer up a black person when they get killed by a white cop. Or they use us when they're bargaining for somebody to play sports. Go in a locker room with women, or or something. That's when they. And it's not all their fault. I mean, honestly, there's backlash when they try to speak truth to power. But like they always say, there's always work at the post office. So here we are, folks. Here we are here on the Tim Black Show on a Thursday night. We're about to pull the scab off. It's LA Ignites. Troops ousted. The court's bold strike uncut. About to get into that, man. I want to welcome everybody once again to the Tim Black Show, man. If you're new here, hit the like button. Let the algorithm know this is a good show so far. I know, you're going to hear things here that you don't hear other places you go. I'm pretty sure of that. They say, well, Tim, there's other people that say things. Yeah, I don't know if they said, like, I mean, I don't follow after anyone, so I really don't know, but I gotta imagine. I mean, I'd like this type of passion and realness if I was watching the show. Um, it is important, I think. So hit the like button, let the algorithm know this is a show that appears to be interesting. Hit the like button if you want the algorithm to know that this show deserves more viewers. I hope you do. I hope you do, Johnson. And we can get off into this, man. So we've been covering the LA protest, hashtag the LA riots. And there's been some developments in this, man, since last we spoke. There's been a legal battle over the troops. Yeah, Gavin Newsom sued Trump's administration for bringing in the National Guard and usurping his power as governor of the state of California. They challenged Trump's deployment of National Guard, discussing and the federal authority and the future protests nationwide. This all going on. So look, here's the question we want to ask you as we get into this. Should states have veto power over federal troops? As of tonight, a federal judge, Charles Breyer, has ruled on a legal battle over the deployment of troops in Los Angeles. Yes, Los Angeles. The judge issued a temporary restraining order against finding President Trump's federalization of the California National Guard was illegal, exceeding its authority and violating the 10th Amendment. The order directs Trump to return control of the National Guard to Governor Gavin Newsom, with the ruling set to take effect tomorrow at noon. That's going to last at least until June 20th. However, the White House has not confirmed whether it will respect the order and is expected to appeal. So the situation remains fluid. Check back here tomorrow for updates about what happens. And with that being said, let's go to Gavin Newsom discussing the ruling handed down by the courts.
Day for the frame, Justice Breyer.
Trying to get to it. I don't know when he's going to come out here. There goes Jazz Hands.
For taking the time to be here. We just had a chance to review the 36-page order from Justice Breyer. I'm gratified by the order, by his decision. Today was really about a test of democracy. And today we passed the test. We, the people, passed the test. I was just 48 hours ago giving a speech, almost to the minute, talking about some of the enduring principles of our founding fathers, who in response to monarchy, in response to King George, set out to frame a new construct to elevate and support individual freedom, liberty. They created a system of checks and balances, a separation of power, co-equal branches of government. Framework took the best of Greek democracy and the Roman Republic, and it has stood the test of time. Donald Trump has tested the limits of that and has done so consistently. But today's order makes clear that he is not above or beyond constitutional constraints. Constitution sets forth limits. The president is a constitutional officer. The President of the United States works under the Constitution. And so we are very gratified by this decision. His section that he asserted the authority to overrule the objections of a state governor, clearly in the 36-page order, those cornerstones that he claimed or asserted were not met. Section 12, 406, clearly there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. It's absurd. And so we're gratified. Today is a big day for the Constitution of the United States, for our democracy. And I hope it's the beginning of a new day in this country where we push back against overreach. We push back against these authoritarian tendencies of a president that has pushed the boundaries, pushed the limit, but no longer can push this state around any longer.
Huh. Well, Donald Trump, how you think he's going to respond to this? Will he fall in line with the court order? They say it's more than likely he's going to appeal this order and try to proceed anyway. Hope he doesn't do that. I hope he does not move beyond. I hope he does appeal. If he wants to appeal, let him appeal. But what I'm saying is he has to acknowledge the court order, the court decision. He should respect the court decision and back down. Because what else can he do? Defy the court order? Wait till the time for the appeal and come up with the appeal and proceed to make your case. It's going to be difficult, I think, to prove that California is under some specific rebellion, invasion. Really? Really? And now that you think about it, when I think about it, I remember the language that was being used by Trump officials about the influx of immigration. This is why they used that language. It was because legally they kind of needed it to operate. They needed to operate within the confines of saying, we've been invaded. This is what we have to do for that invasion. There's reasons. It was technicalities that I believe led Trump to use that type of language and frame it in that way. But it did not hold up in this case. Man, I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. The court spoke. I don't know what kind of court it was. I do not know. Judge Breyer, Charles Breyer, who ruled on the legal battle over deployment of troops in Los Angeles. People got to understand, Trump, he took control of the National Guard, the California National Guard, and deployed it without the authority or authorization or through Governor Newsom. Okay, so that's where we are. So that's one of my top stories. The other top story I got, I'd like to move on to the next thing, if you're with me, Johnson. There was another story of a senator from California named Alex Padilla. I never heard of this guy until today. Alex Padilla, he took over he came into office after Kamala Harris, became vice president, left her position in the Senate. He's, of course, a Democrat. It is California, after all. He had an issue today. Let's go ahead and run that because I'm hearing people frame it different ways. I put together a clip here. It's going to kind of show you what took place. Here we go.
And what they have tried to...
I want to know why you insist
So I want to say thank you
exaggerated
to every
and
single
embellishing.
person that has
Hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to talk
hands
about
up.
specifically how many of our ICE agents have been docked.
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat. Other hand.
I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground. And I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
Tim Black's BS detector.
How many people's eyes work? How about your ears? Ears work too? Now you got a matching set. You're blessed. Check this out. I watched this tape a couple times, and it did not appear to me that Alex Padilla, first of all, he didn't identify himself before he started approaching. He walked into a room where there was no Q&A going on, and someone was in the middle of a speech that's being filmed, and he said, "Hey, you person, what are you doing? I got a question for you. Why are you acting like that?" Only once they laid hands on him and started pushing him to the door did he say, I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I have a few questions for the secretary. He didn't say that. He didn't walk up. He didn't, excuse me. He just walked up dressed like he just got out of a Kohl's, or he just ordered some shit off LL Bean website. Like he just went to the Bass Pro Shop, picked up some gear. I mean, he didn't look like a senator. He looked like a guy. And part of his argument is that if they treat a senator this way, they'll treat anyone this way. But no one knows who you were. But if you're treat a department, if you treat the DHS secretary like shit, you'll interrupt them. You'll walk in. Now, he was in the building because he was attending a meeting down the hall. This was not an open meeting. And nowhere there being questions asked. That'd been different, guys. Look, I don't know this lady. I don't rock with Kristi Noem. I don't rock with her. But I'm tired of the Democrats with their performative theatrical nonsense. He was not invited there. He didn't have a name tag on. He didn't say, hey, I'm Alex Padilla, the representative, the senator that's been trying to meet with you. I love a few words. He didn't do that. He just barged in and started walking towards the stage. Like, who does that? You can't even do that at the strip club, son. All I'm saying is, why? Well, we know why. That's stupid to ask that question. And see, the other thing that gets me ticked about this whole thing is then he goes on every network and cries. He wasn't arrested. He didn't get his ass kicked. He wasn't even detained. Once they verified who he was, they uncuffed him, and he got to talk to Kristi Noem for about 15 minutes. The two of them spoke. He still went on every news network and complained, look how they treated me. Look what they did to me. They threw me to the ground. You don't think that's a little close for somebody to be standing from the secretary without like having permission to do so? Like, it's not a meet and greet, dude. Like, who the hell are you? Like, I'm just saying, you really think the security guards, whoever security, not security guards, but the security people, the people that acted, you really think they did that to just tick off Democrats? And you think that's sort of like what they would do with anybody? I mean, do you really think that? I mean, it's kind of stupid. It gives them a free press cycle, right? Wouldn't it be dumb to just do that because he's a Democrat? I mean, guys, I do this for a living. I cover news and politics, and I didn't know who the guy was. I bet you most of you didn't know who the hell he was either. Hi, I'm Alex Padilla. I'm a senator. Take my question. I know you got prepared remarks, and I know it's a speech, and it's being recorded, but I'm going to interrupt all your shit. Anyway. Well, to make matters worse, Democrats came out in full regalia. Yeah, they came out to defend poor Alex, who was not arrested, who was not detained, who once it was verified who he was let go, and then met with the person he wanted to meet with. But that doesn't stop them from doing the we're the victim. Case in point, Spartacus.
And this son of Mexican immigrants who cleaned homes and served food, this man with equal dignity in this body, today was driven violently to his knees.
See why I can't stand him? Does it make sense now? Is it sinking in why I can't stand the Democrats? What does it have to do with what happened today? You really think that's why they detained him? I mean, it was white guys that tried to off Trump, not immigrants. Why is he even starting with that? What does it matter what his dad did? That's not why he got wrestled to the ground and pushed. No, he's pushed out the door. Then he was wrestled to the ground. But why? It had. Hey, man, for the record, guys, I saw Alex Padilla. I wouldn't know if he was white or Latino or Puerto Rican or what he is. This is white on white crime, in my opinion. But that doesn't stop Corey. I mean, at least if he was black, you better say, maybe he's a little scared of the black guy. But this is a white guy. Alex Padilla is a white guy for all intents and purposes. Once he check off on his census, huh? What box is it? See, the Democrats, all they do is play the race card and use this stuff. And look, dog, for real, I'm very much aware of racial bias, what have you. But really, in this case, really, that's what we got, Johnson. That's it. That's what this is.
As if made to kneel before the authority of the executive, because he was so-called disrespectful.
So-called?
That should offend the consciousness, not just of the other 99 members of this body. It should offend the conscience of this country.
I wonder how Corey would act if he was giving a speech and someone he didn't know was walking towards him yelling. At what point would he think his security would step in? Because Corey's a senator. He's got protection. What is this people told to do when people walk up to an event where there is no interaction with the public and somebody just comes up, walks up, is walking towards you with a raised voice? What are they supposed to do? They asked the guy to leave, they stopped him, and he kept fighting. I mean, the video shows clearly dude wasn't trying to listen. Reminds me of that guy, Al Green, who he interrupted Trump's State of the Union address, trying to get thrown out, and when he got thrown out, all he did was complain he got thrown out. He went there to get thrown out. He gets what he wanted, which was to get thrown out, to make a statement, to protest. And then he went on the TV and said, they only did it because I'm black. And it cheapens arguments about race when these people use it like bus tokens, like breadcrumbs to the pigeons at the park. You understand what I'm saying?
Because if you can make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop?
Coy, he was cuffed outside of the office. because he would not leave. You grandstanding, opportunist, shakedown artists. But all the Democrats love him because he sat there and talked for 24 hours about nothing and then put out a book right after. We ain't gonna never get nowhere, man. Sometimes this is a very daunting job. You understand what I'm saying? If you think you're gonna be effective and help change, impact change, you're really getting, I feel like I'm getting past my skis. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tripping. I must be tripping because if I got people defending Cory Booker, really? Really? You defend this guy, Alex Padilla, who you didn't even know who he was 2 minutes ago. Because he got a D next to his name, you believe the guy? Now, I'm not defending Christy Noel, but I can see
He's a United States Senator.
why should that matter? I thought you said, see how he treats the United States Senator, whatever how he treats regular working class, how he treats the people cleaning up the poop off the benches in the Central Park, or how he treats the Handmaid's Tale person, and how he treats the car wash guy or the valet. And then what you said? So stop dropping dimes about him being a senator, because he wasn't dressed like a senator, he didn't approach like a senator, he didn't have any decorum like a senator, nothing. It was like a guy randomly off the street. He lucky he didn't get body slammed. I seen protesters get football tackled. I'm talking heels to the sky tackled. I saw it. It was very entertaining. He didn't get that. They was nice to him. They didn't break a dislocated shoulder or nothing.
And if you could force him to kneel to his knees violently, when does it stop?
Did I hit rewind on accident and he just say that shit? Even Corey's running out of talking points. Come on. Can we all just get along? We know we gotta get along. My parents mixed relationships with an interracial marriage. It's hard. When I was the mayor of Newark and I was for stop and frisk, all the blacks looked the other way because I'm brown skinned. That's real true. That's true too.
What does it say to other Americans who want to speak up? What does it say to other Americans that want to exercise their constitutional duty? What does it say to other Americans?
Yo, you can't just go to the Department of Health. You can't just go to the DHS secretary while they're having a speech, interrupt them and ask questions. You can't do that shit. They got Congress people that can't even get in a HUD building. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. What are you talking about? See what I'm saying, guys? What the hell they got to do with people being outside with a horn going, hey, I hate ICE? Nothing. You are in. You know what? If people are if anyone watching is making excuses for what Alex Padilla did, I don't know what to tell you, man. We just gonna have to disagree because, you know, come on. I think he did it to be a jackass. He did it expecting them to do something. Why would he walk up like that? Who does that?
Americans this weekend when they want to peacefully protest? What does it say to other Americans from humble backgrounds?
Don't be a dumbass. Don't walk up on government officials in a place you weren't invited to and just interrupt their speeches while they're on camera giving speeches. What was supposed to happen? I remember the video I saw John Kerry giving a speech somewhere. That guy got tased. Remember that? And John Kerry was just running for office. I don't even think John Kerry at the time had any real position. He was just giving a speech or something. Remember that guy? That guy was like, "Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me, bro." They tased him. And you zzz, remember that? That didn't happen to Alex. Alex could have turned around and walked. They spun him to walk him out, and he spun back around and charged at him again. That's what happened. And there was no forearm to the neck area. No one kneeled on his neck. No one choked him out, Daniel Penny style. You know? Just put the cuffs on him, lifted his goofy ass up, and took the cuffs off of him, and helped him fix his clothes, gave him a Corona. Some peas and rice, some frijoles, and waited for Kristi Noem to finish, and then he went and had a conversation like a normal person would. But once again, this is the collateral. This is the game. You know, Democrats pretend to be victims. And Democrat supporters eat it up. They eat it up, Josh.
No poverty. That if a United States senator who stands up to do its job can be made to heel, driven to his knees, violently handcuffed.
He said the same thing 4 times. Now look, I have a tendency to repeat myself. Not 4 times, though. This guy's worse than Dr. Umar.
What does it say? Why? This is a test. This is a
audacity to. We all watched the.
That is wrong. This is a test. This is a crossroads. This is a day in which the character of this body will be defined.
First question, how are you? We all watched the video. We saw you taken to the floor by those agents. How are you doing?
Yeah, look, I'm okay. I've been on the phone off and on with kids, right? Because my kids, travels fast in this day and age with technology to make sure they're okay. But I think most importantly is the outrage that I hope people feel. If this can happen to a United States senator for having the audacity to ask a question of the Secretary of Homeland Security, the same questions and requests for information that we've had, not just the last sort of week or so of the activity in Los Angeles, but since the beginning of the administration, then just imagine what can happen to anybody in the country, for that matter.
We heard from you briefly at the press conference after you came outside of the federal building in Westwood. We've heard more extensively from Secretary Noem and the Department of Homeland Security, and I want to just tell you a little bit because I'm sure this has been a whirlwind about what they've been saying. Secretary Noem said that you, quote, lunged towards her at this press conference. The Department of Homeland Security said the Secret Service believed that you were an attacker. And the Department of Homeland Security called this political theater. What's your response and what's your version of what happened?
Well, first of all, that's ridiculous. It's a lie, but par for the course for this administration, right? So here's the stage. Look, I was in the federal building here in Los Angeles for a scheduled briefing. Just as when my colleagues and I had to go all the way to Guantanamo Bay to begin to get information about that facility being used as a detention facility, they've been non-responsive to requests for information. And so I had scheduled, they approved, a briefing with representatives of the Northern Command in that federal building. We were there prior to the 10:30 original appointment date when we caught wind that Secretary of Homeland Security is going to be down the hall at a press conference. And our briefing was now delayed because of that press conference. So since the secretary has been non-responsive, I figured let me go over and listen to what she has to say. Maybe.
And wait until she's done, right? That's what you're going to say. You're going to say you're going to wait until she was done speaking. You weren't going to interrupt her while she's doing her speech for the press conference, right? You're going to wait, right? Because that's what a senator would do, right? And that's what the person who's talking to him is going to suggest, right? He's going to say, well, Senator Padilla, wouldn't you wait until she's done and then ask your questions? Because that's sort of like decorum and makes sense and identify who you are. Have you ever met her before? You know, she fucking know who you are, dude. Like, you know, you are Latino, right? Racism, right? Shouldn't you identify yourself first before shouldn't you, since you're going to use the racial, race card on this thing, right? Shouldn't you are, shouldn't you shouldn't you do all the things? Shouldn't you? Let's see if the interviewer asks any of these questions that Tim Black just asked, because I think they're pretty basic. Let's see what kind of job the MSNBC guy does.
We can glean some information here.
So let me make sure I understand that.
The whole time, right? We're the whole time being escorted in this federal building by somebody from the National Guard, somebody from the FBI. I've gone through screening. This is a federal building. And so tell them, let's go listen to the press conference. They escort me over to that room. And I'm sitting in the back of the room behind the cameras, behind the reporters, listening. And at one point, it was just too much to take. Not the first, but the second attack on the political leadership of California and this notion that Donald Trump and Kristi Noem had to come in and rescue the people of Los Angeles.
See, he's admitting he lost his cool, isn't he? He said it was too much to take. Does that sound like somebody who's calm and composed? I'm just saying, he just said it was too much to take. What does that sound like to you?
From Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, it was too much. And so I spoke up. I introduced myself.
No, you did.
And said I had a question. Look.
That's not what you did. We saw it, guys. I don't want to rewind it again. Please rewind this and watch it. That ain't what he did, man. He didn't say, hey, I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I want to respond to you. He didn't do that. He didn't lead with that. He lead with, I got a question for you. And what buy you got in these extraordinary lengths to do X, Y, Z? When they start pushing his ass out the door, he's like, I'm Senator Alex Padilla, help! By that time, he's already going out the door. She never even broke sentence. She kept reading her shit.
They said I wasn't wearing my pen. My polo says United States Senate.
Yeah, I can see it from here. I can see your nipple. But that's not what you were wearing a jacket too, weren't you? Yeah. Okay.
There was no threat. There was no lunging. I raised my voice to ask a question, and it took maybe half a second before multiple agents were on me.
Point. This is a federal building. You can't just wander in there necessarily. What reporting do you have, and how should we, in your view, be analyzing how we're seeing these agents respond?
Well, it's easy to think about this as one incident, but actually from a law enforcement perspective, we're really looking at three separate incidents that happened within a short period of time. First, you have the DHS secretary who is addressing the press. This was not a Q&A period, and she's interrupted. She's interrupted by someone who is speaking very loudly, and so her security detail confronts what we obviously now know to be the senator, and at that point, he is now going to be escorted out. You can't interrupt something like that that's already in progress without having those consequences. But the second incident, in my view, happens the moment as officers are trying to lead him out, he then turns and walks back towards kind of into those agents. At that point, from a security detail perspective, we're taking this person out against their will. We've asked the person, and again, this is all happening very quickly, but the moment he then turns into them, they realize this is not someone who is going to comply.
Yeah, that's how I saw it, but you know me, I'm crazy. I'm Looney Tunes, man. I just don't know why he, I think it's all scripted. It's all scripted by the Democratic Party to make themselves like they got to do something. All they can do is play into like saying, demonize Trump's administration to score an easy point, to score points. And their base would just go, bad Trump. They'll probably blame Trump for this. Not saying you shouldn't or couldn't or whatever, it's just lame. And that's the problem. That the frustrating part is not that the Democrats is full of shit. I already know that. It's the people that believe it. They could watch that and the guy tell you the opposite order of how things took place. And there are people that don't believe it, even though they look at it and see, hey, he didn't announce who he was first. This wasn't a Q&A session where they were going around like at a press conference and this guy asked a question and just grabbed him up. That's not what happened. It wasn't a QA portion of anything. He interrupted someone's actual speech, and when he interrupted and was walking forward, the security did what security is supposed to do, which is stop him. And then he started fighting with the security. It wasn't like, okay, guys, all right, let's go. No, he's like, get off me. And he's like fighting them. It's obvious. And if people can see that, and their brain is so warped that they can't see that for what it is, then what hope do we have of really like solving big shit? How are we gonna solve big problems if we can't see that? You know, we got a lot of serious issues on the table, man. We got war. Israel just dropped bombs on Iran. Just now. We got serious things going on in this world. And we can't even agree on what we all see with our eyes. We can see cars on fire in Los Angeles and people be like, it looks peaceful to me. You know, when was the last time a car, unless it's a Tesla that went up on its own, unless it's a car that had a fuel problem, when last time you saw a car on fire and thought, this is peaceful? It's just whack. So it's like, we got people that feel that that's peaceful. That's all I'm saying, John. So put in the conversation what you think, man. I can't stay here all night. Some people don't care about Alex Padilla. And until the day I was one of them. I didn't know who this guy was. I didn't know him from a can of paint. And maybe that's the whole point. You know, like the black sister who got arrested with Baraka, whatever, in New Jersey. We didn't know who she was either, and I still don't know who she is. I think it's McIver. You know, and I didn't know who Baraka was either. You know these people. But they got arrested in order to build a name for themselves. I know the ticket to make the Tim Black show bigger. Get arrested. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. We'll stay small. I'm too old to go to jail, Johnson. We're going to move this segment on, man. I got other content here. But before we get into, let me grab this. Yeah, what is it? I wanted to show you something, man. I saw this and I was thinking, you know what? I want to share this with the audience. I want people to know that there are young people. There are young people that mean well. You know what I'm saying? They mean well, and they just can't find a way to sort of channel it, but they mean well. And what I mean by that is this.
Power! People 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 power!
Yeah, it's just that there are people chanting these things. And they themselves, they see themselves as standing up for the people. That's what they believe they're doing. So with the criticism of what I see as political theater, what I see as the Democratic Party and Republican parties, to a large extent, playing these damn games. Like, I never say Trump isn't playing a game, because he definitely is. But so are the Democrats. And they're playing with people's lives, frankly. You know, getting a felony. I don't know what these young people are being charged with. I don't know what kind of charges they get labeled with. If if they push back or if they throw a rock at a cop or whatever, I don't know. But it could be, I think, do some serious damage to the futures of their lives. And they're caught up in this thing and they're thinking, we're fighting for the people. What kind of power? People power. I just want to remind people that there are some people that mean well that are caught up in this thing. And they think they're standing on business. So you got to throw that in the equation for what it's worth. Now, let's get into a little bit more, guys. I got a couple clips, because we're not just talking about what's happening in LA. We got more than just LA on the line here.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
Next on deck with...
Yeah, there goes Trump buckling. His knees just buckled. Oh. Get a little easy. Uh-oh, he's about to cave in. Yeah, that's what's happening, Johnson. What's it sound like to you? Sounds to me like Donald Trump is looking for a soft exit on some of this. And what's the motivation? Is that the screaming mother watching or the screaming wife watching her husband being taken away? It's not the cries of children watching their dad or mama go bye-bye. It's the threat of, the company might have to fire new people. Spoken like one of the billionaires. Oh, the poor corporate farm might have to hire new people. We wouldn't want to inconvenience Marriott. No, the conglomerate hotel chains might be inconvenienced. Yeah, if you're a Republican and you're watching this show and you go, oh, Tim, I love you, Tim. Oh, how dare you speak against Trump? You need help. Trump is an opportunist, just like Democrats are an opportunist. Just occasionally, his opportunism. I'm not a person. Look, you got to understand something about me. I'm not one of the persons that care what someone's motivation is. I'm black. Don't got time for that. If black people sat around worrying what the motivation was, we'd still be mad about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln said, if I could save the Union and not free y'all ninjas, I would. And still people go, Abraham Lincoln. Because they don't care about the context of what his motivation was. You understand what I'm saying? That's how I am. Yeah, I don't care why. I don't care why you do what you do. I just care what you did. Because motivations are fleeting. Lyndon B. Johnson passed a lot of civil rights legislation, not because he cared about black people. He was a staunch racist. People that don't know what staunch means, that means really. He was really racist. So I don't get caught up. That's what people don't get. They think, you love Trump. No, I don't love anybody I don't know. Not a goofy. but some of his policies as it pertains to slowing down the rot of the Democrats is good for me. And I think it's good for my people. You understand what I'm saying? That's why. But I'm under no delusion that Trump is going, like, I'm not sitting around thinking Trump's going to go to the wall for the blacks. Now that's the goofies. That's like that's like the Hodge twins. Shit like that's like, those are the fools. That's the Cartier family. When you're young and dumb, you think them things. Or you think with your wallet. This just happened to be a lot of viewership in it for you. No, man. This, try to explain it away if you want to. But being an honest person, being a person of ethics and integrity, you got to look at this for what it is. Trump just said, hey, man, bump them kids, bump them old folks, but we can't inconvenience the corporations. Probably give to his campaigns. Somebody probably called Trump's ass up like, Trump, I gave you $5 billion last cycle. Whatever, it wasn't that much. I gave you $5 million when you really needed it, and you need to tell me what I get for that. I get you making me have to get a whole new staff for my shit hotels. You orange bastard, that's not what I gave to you. After a few of those phone calls, Trump probably figured maybe it's time for me to say something. Let me back them up. They can stop calling and complaining. I mean, I'm a realist, Johnson. Are you a realist? Really? It's like the people that said, Trump can't lie. He's not a politician. He owned a casino. Sam Rothstein was a liar. Trump's a liar, too. Come on, man. I'm not saying jump out the room and pretend that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer aren't liars. I'm not gone that far. No one's saying that. I'm still a Democratic Party hater. But I just got to make sure you get a heat check on this Trump thing. Okay? The guy ran on deporting people, and now he's saying, everybody but these corporation people, these people cool. They work with you? Oh, they cool. Go ahead. I want to hear the excuses people going to make. I'm not going to make no excuses. That's why I love being truly independent, because I get to tell the truth. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I try to be. But this right here, I'm going to run it one more time because I want to hurt feelings, man. Yeah, I like hurting people's feelings, man, because some people need it. Let it seep in.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to.
You just remember the guy that gave him a lot of money to his campaign. Like, and leisure too. The hotel got it. God, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. The hotels too, they good too. We don't want them hiring a bunch of murderers and killers because what if they already have some murderers and killers that are undocumented that work for them? Isn't that what you've been saying?
Have to use a lot of common sense on that.
Next on deck.
All right, I'm gonna let you live. But I just want to point it out, man. Look, Let the record show. Let the record show I went there. You're welcome.
With Tim Black.
Blown and overgrown, and people get excited and because it's Donald J. Trump.
What's overblown?
I mean, no, what I'm saying is people just get excited and they get so much anger because it's Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump in his first term deported 1.5 million people. So far, he has deported 160,000 people since he became president again. Barack Obama deported 5.3 million people.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
8 years.
I totally take your
but
point.
It's because it's Donald J. Trump. If it was Barack Obama, it's a
Look at average. Whoa. Wait. What are you doing talking about? Yo, no, don't go to Obama. No. She jumped up, didn't she? Can't be saying dropping truth bombs about Obama like that. 5.3, that'll wake up even the most sleepy-headed Democrat who's worshiping the feet of Barack Hussein Obama. Yeah, you don't want to do that now. Oh, he done touched the third rail. He told the truth about the Messiah. Hey, well, sometimes you got to let them go. Hey, sometimes you got to deport people. Hey, get them out of here. Guys, want some wings? Hey, want some wings? Got your papers? Come get them. Obama was cold with it, man. We got to get you out of here. Everybody's got to go. The kids, too. All of them. Y'all know Obama the one that built the cages, right? It's so bad. You know, that's why Trump wanted to get reelected so bad, just to stick it to y'all. Just think about it. His first term, he deports a fourth of the people that Obama deported, and y'all called him the Antichrist. He used the same cages that Obama did, and you called him a child torturer. When it was Obama who made the cages. I'd be mad as hell, man. Oh, I'd be livid. Trump survived 4 years living off the hate. He was probably supposed to visit the upper room, but the hate kept him alive. You know, just, argh. Yeah, this is fun. Abby jumped up. Abby, she was quiet until he stopped dropping bombs on old Obama. Look at
No, what I'm saying is people just get excited and they get so much anger because it's Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump in his first term deported 1.5 million people. So far, he has deported 160,000 people since he became president again. Barack Obama deported 5.3 million people.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
8 years.
I totally take your
but
point.
It's because it's Donald J. Trump. If it was Barack Obama, it's okay.
But no, not just that. I mean, I think to Karen's point, she's making a point about the tactics here. And I think I agree with you in one sense. The Trump administration finds outrage extremely useful. That's one of the reasons why, for example, DHS posted this on X today. It's a poster that says, "Help your country and yourself. Report all foreign invaders." They are trying to get a rise out of people. However, the tactics are different. The numbers are different. 23% of all arrests are non-criminals. That is way more than it normally is.
And Abel, I think it's just flat out wrong here in that comparison. I see a lot of people make that comparison. You didn't have Barack Obama's DHS secretary playing action hero on the streets with the DHS, and then tweeting about it. We weren't sending people to El Salvador, right? And you weren't evading legitimate court orders. We're opening Guantanamo Bay next week to house illegal immigrants. I mean,
5 million people.
But yeah, I hear you. Yes. And he was the deporter. He got the name deporter in chief for a reason. Yep. But you brought up. But you brought up. No, I'm saying that it's different. And I'm also.
Yo, I don't care what you say about how Trump's doing it. 5 million. It's a lot of people. Here's the real deal. I'll try to tag Bakari again because he won't respond. It's what cowards do. Check this out. I think the real difference between Donald Trump and Obama is Trump's proud of his deportations. Yeah, his party. See, this is the difference. Trump's party wants the deportations. Democrats were not really supporting the deportations back when Obama was doing it. He still did it and did not get the publicity. He did not get the negative backlash. Of course, there was pockets of protests. There were to the credit of a lot of Latino groups, because I was here doing this work at that time. I was doing this. And I remember finding out about it through activists who contacted my show and was like, Tim, Obama is a piece of garbage. That was like 2012, 13. It woke me up to Obama's immigration. I found that out in real time, Johnson, because the news was not covering it like that. They were in the streets protesting against Obama like they do Trump, but no one covered it. It was not covered bell to bell. That's because the Democrats own the media. I mean, except for Fox and Newsmax and News Nation or whatever. It's like three networks. Of course, Fox is huge, but still, you add all those small ones up, and we're talking about a time when MSNBC and CNN had a lot more leverage. So that's the real mission. The real story to it is, first of all, Obama was trying to hide the garbage he was doing, but it wasn't garbage. It was what he intended to do. You understand what I'm saying? He's got the same statements that Trump makes. You know, there are people on Twitter sharing his content all the time. Western media, Maze. There are people sharing these videos of Obama's statements to the world. He wasn't really that shy about it, but it was that the media did not have scrutiny. They just backed off. Obama said, well, go ahead and do what you want to do, B. Go ahead, Obama. We quiet. We're gonna shut up. Yeah. And now it's a public health crisis. I mean, because there's no other way to really explain it. I mean, Bakari's grasping at straws here talking about tactics. Yo, I can see if Trump deported 3 million and Obama deported 4 million, I could see he could say the tactics. But when it's 1.5 to 5.3, nah, don't tell me it's all about style. What's it all about style? It's because the media would not tell the truth. And those people found out anyway, and they were in the streets. But they could never get a cohesive movement really together because there was no media play in it. And that's because no one was dumping No one was dumping money into an opposition against what was happening. See, Trump has haters, and Trump has opposition and Democrats and billionaires who have deep pockets. The Republicans wanted the deportations, so did the Democrats. So who was going to fund what we have going on right now? Who was going to fund it? Someone's got to fund these protesters, man. They've been paying protesters since day one. Where you guys been? It's called per diem, food, lodging, whatever. Walking around money. So, yeah. So if you don't have any money fueling opposition to the president is carrying out these executive orders, what you got? You have sporadic, truly grassroots activism. And it's just not that much. And if you don't have coverage, the only way it catches on, that's what happened with BLM. Look at BLM. It happened because of donor money, billionaire donor money, that coupled with mainstream media attention. Bakari, next time you tell an untruth, you should burst into flames, my brother.
Saying this, I'm saying what you're highlighting is that on the watch of Democrats under Barack Obama and now Republicans, you have a broken immigration system.
Completely.
But the fact
next on deck with Tim Black.
A broken integration system. Yeah, broken immigration system. Let's keep going, guys. Let me know what's in the comments section. Let me know in the comments what you think, guys. So, hey, the issues that are plaguing LA protests or stemming or The issues that drove the LA protests or the LA riots, however you want to look at it, are not just in LA. We're also in Austin, Texas. Take a look.
Tensions are high Monday night as demonstrators take to the streets of downtown Austin. Protesting against the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, a ripple effect across the nation. Hundreds of activists gathered in front of the state capitol, waving flags and holding signs in a display of emotions. The group then marched toward the J.J. Pickle Federal Building where immigrants are held, and the protests escalated.
The crowd ultimately gathered in front of the Federal Building, where some individuals began defacing the property with graffiti. Officers issued dispersal orders at that point and moved the crowd westward along 8th Street. Agitators began throwing rocks at officers, and one officer was spit on in the eye by a protester.
Boarded windows, abandoned scooters, and destruction, all evidence of the aftermath from the demonstration organized by Party for Socialism and Liberation.
Any police violence against the protesters was simply unacceptable. All across the country, we've been basically seeing the police and law enforcement repressing protesters like they were here in Austin.
Leba Khan, an organizer of Monday night's emergency protests, says the activists are standing in solidarity with protesters across the nation and expressing their First Amendment rights. Austin Police and Texas Department of Public Safety de-escalated the demonstration with tear gas and pepper balls. There were at least 12 arrests made for unlawful behavior. Tuesday, demonstrators camped out in front of the Travis County Jail, waiting on the release of those detained.
It's horrifying to see this happening in our own community. We want to condemn APD and the DPS's violent tactics and their eagerness that they showed to suppress community members.
Law enforcement officials argue there are safer ways to get a message across.
We will not tolerate any unlawful violent behavior that puts members of our community and our officers at risk.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Yeah, so it's in Austin as well, where they are protesting the ICE as well. And it's not only there, it's also the protests are moving across to, is this New York City? Yeah, New York City.
Another night of unrest across the country and here in the city as anti-ICE protesters gathered once again in Foley Square.
Yeah, this as millions get ready to hold a No Kings protest in cities across the country against President Donald Trump on Saturday. Eyewitness News reporter Jason Patel joins us live in Lower Manhattan with the latest on this. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Pedro and Shirlene. The NYPD definitely keeping a close eye on protests that are happening today, tomorrow, and this weekend. The good news is protests here at home last night were much calmer compared to Tuesday. Last night, only 2 people were arrested compared to Tuesday when 86 people were taken into custody. But take a look. Things were still tense at times with people pushing and shoving police officers. The demonstrators were cuffed for not clearing the access point to Federal Plaza. And just like earlier in the week, demonstrations started at Foley Square before moving down Broadway and later up to the Manhattan Detention Center. Things were much calmer, though, last night compared to Tuesday, like I mentioned, when protesters clashed with police, throwing items at officers and even throwing garbage and traffic cones into the road at times. The NYPD says they have things under control here and do not need federal intervention. The police commissioner says they do not engage in civil enforcement and they don't know where ICE is in the city or where they're conducting raids. She says their responsibility is to maintain safety and order here on the streets. But meanwhile, over in Los Angeles, protests continued across LA County. Dozens of people were arrested yesterday, and protests have even popped up outside of hotels where ICE agents were rumored to be staying. Thousands of National Guard troops and 700 Marines were deployed to the LA area, and the Marines are expected to be serving alongside National Guard troops within the next 48 hours. A curfew is also in effect for a part of downtown LA where protests and marches have been happening for days. And city leaders have been speaking up about ICE raids across Southern California. The mayor of Huntington Park emotional during a press conference.
These are Americans. And when we lifted our hands and we swore the oath to defend the Constitution and to defend this country, that oath was to the American people. It was not to a dictator. It was not to a tyrant. It was not to a president. It was to the American people.
And back here at home, protests are going to continue today here at Foley Square this evening. And also there's a mass protest planned on Saturday at Bryant Park. So the NYPD will definitely be keeping an eye on those protests that are planned. For now, live in Lower Manhattan, Jaysh Patel, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
And last but not least, Chicago.
At this time last night, the massive anti-ICE protest in Chicago was still going. We brought you live coverage from the ground and the sky as thousands of demonstrators marched through downtown Chicago. Tonight, we are hearing from Chicago leaders about how the protest was handled and what they're doing ahead of more planned for the weekend. Our Jermont Terry live for us with what he's learned tonight. Jermont?
Joe, the streets here in downtown are much quieter and calmer compared to 24 hours ago when those protesters took over. But with another rally, possibly larger, planned here at Daley Plaza, and not to mention the many events happening this weekend, it could possibly stretch CPD very thin. Chicago police showed up in force when thousands of anti-ICE protesters marched in downtown. CPD, for the most part, tried to let the crowd move freely, but some defaced police cruisers, 17 arrested, as many clashed with officers.
If the police don't go out there with overwhelming numbers in the beginning, it's hard to get it back under control.
Former Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson says he's confident the force is ready for what's scheduled this weekend.
It's going to be a hot weekend in Chicago.
Hot in terms of big events. Besides the planned No Kings rally to counter the president's ICE actions, thousands will pack Rate Field to honor the Chicago-born Pope. Then there's the Puerto Rican Fest in Humboldt Park. Johnson points out it could leave the department stretched.
So they're going to have as many officers out there as they can, and also they're going to have undercovers planted in that group of protesters. The protest is a different animal, because you don't know how many people are going to be there. So what you have to do is prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
My God. Tuesday, the driver of this maroon car nearly ran over protesters as she sped through the crowd. Police are still looking for her.
There's public safety concern here. This is something that should not be tolerated.
So says Republican State Rep Dan Ugasti. He's proposing legislation where demonstrators can get arrested and charged with a felony for blocking streets longer than 5 minutes during unplanned protests.
I'm not trying to stop anyone from expressing their First Amendment rights and meeting peacefully and assembling, but we can't have people blocking our streets and causing public safety problems. And we also can't tolerate violence in the street.
Yeah.
Now, as those big events are planned, we've also learned from the mayor's office that the president is expected to also send ICE tactical teams to assist ICE agents in their duties. According to the city, those agents will be equipped with, quote, miniature tanks. Reporting live at Daley Plaza tonight, Jermont Terry, CBS News, Chicago. Joe?
Jermont, thank you.
Next.
Yeah, you know, part of what I think is going on with this is I think Donald Trump doesn't like the publicity being negative towards him. And I think that's part of the reason why he cracked down so hard on LA. Yeah, he wanted to kind of send a message that he wasn't going to play, that he will send in, troops. He will play hardball. Doesn't look like it's working. And that's what I was putting out earlier when I played the clip of the protesters, the activists, and the chants, because I wanted people to realize, yeah, I know that there's some people that, there because they got a couple of dollars for being there. I know some people that are there for, some of this is being fanned by Democrats, operatives, so to speak. But then there's also people that believe. They believe what they believe. And those people will come out. Speaking of people believing what they believe, listen to this guy. Here goes Mayor Brandon Johnson. Your favorite guy, not mine. This guy's a piece of work, Johnson.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
They are absolutely terrified. And look, I remember a few stand-ups ago when I talked about what terrorism looks like. This is it. There should be no question to what our country would look like had the Confederacy won. We're seeing it on full display. And
next on
Yeah. They were asking Brandon Johnson what he was thinking about the ICE raids. This is what it would have looked like if the Confederacy won. We'd be deporting people who aren't citizens. I think we'd be doing a lot more than that. I was just thinking what was happening before they won. I don't know, man. I don't know. One of the strongest arguments that the Democrats make or liberals make about not deporting people is very similar to the same argument Trump makes about not wanting to hurt the farmers or the hotels. We need somebody to work. We need workers, which sounds a lot like what the Confederates wanted. So I'm thinking maybe in our current state, where we have an underclass of workers who are undocumented, mostly in the shadows. I think we kind of got the same thing. Well, if you want to say what's closer to that, I'd say with mass immigration, you get closer to a system where you have workers who are somewhat captive. I would never call it slavery, not chattel slavery, because it ain't that. They get paid. Okay, they get paid. They make money. I'm still trying to figure out, man, how the hell did Chicago get somebody as bad as Brandon Johnson? I mean, you got to look at the bottom of the barrel. Get to the bottom of the barrel and find something stuck to the bottom, decaying, and be like, let's go with that. It's that or nothing. Who lost to Brandon Johnson? Was it Lori Lightfoot or did she turn him out? It's like bad mayor after bad mayor in Chicago, man. Let's keep going.
Deck with Tim Black.
I'm undocumented. So my parents came in 2008 when I was about, I believe, 7 or 8 years old. We crossed here around that time. We've been living in Costa Mesa for 18 years.
What are your thoughts on what's happening in and around here?
It's nonsense. It's ridiculous. We haven't done nothing wrong. What have we done? Standing at Home Depot looking for work to feed our family? Is that a crime? Is that our crime? To feed our family? It's not. We're just trying to provide. We're trying to make sure we have a roof over our head.
How do you feel about Donald Trump now not only instigating with the raids, with the ICE raids, but also bringing in the U.S. National Guard, bringing in the U.S. Marines to support those ICE raids?
It's wrong. It's wrong, honestly. I have friends that they're in the Marines. I have friends that they're in the Army, and they even tell me it's wrong. But since we're under the oath, we have to do it. It's an order.
Do you know people who've been affected directly by the raids?
Oh, yeah, obviously, which is my friends here. As you can see, it's empty. I don't have papers, and I'm still here, risking my life in order to provide myself, to have a roof, like I said.
Are you worried about being grabbed?
I am, but I can't show that. I don't want to show that. Because if they come and if I run, they're going to think I'm a criminal when I'm not.
What if you get grabbed?
It is what it is, right? As a man, that's what we say. It is what it is. But we're going to find a way to come back. Because we decided to be here. Because we want to provide our family in Mexico. We want to buy, which is the medicines that they can't buy. We want to buy them the food that they can't really buy.
What's in your heart right now?
I don't feel angry. Because we decided to come here because it's America, right? It's the American dream. It's the freedom of speech. The First Amendment, there's no longer that no more.
Anything else you want to say about what's happening in this country right now?
Don't treat us like animals.
Next on Deck with Tim Black.
I got an answer to this question, man. Hey, I gotta respond to this. It's important, Johnson. I gotta say something, man. Young man, you say, what did you do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. Your parents did. It's called unlawful entry. That's what it's called when you come to the country and you don't go through the proper steps. And it looks like you entered without, your parents entered the country without, going through the proper, Improper entry point. That's what it's called. That's the technical term for it. Doesn't make you a bad person, just makes you in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? I think you know that. But one thing it does, I want people to focus on, because I hear you. And it doesn't sound like this guy's a bad person. This young man doesn't sound like a bad person at all. I'm not here to demonize him. I think that's crazy. It's nothing to demonize. But what I can say is, I didn't hear you talking about you were risking life and limb because your life was in danger in your former country. I didn't hear you mention that. Just said you wanted to live a dream. Yeah, we do too. You know? And as I listen to this story, man, and it makes me realize more of the dilemma that we have, right? And no doubt there's a dilemma here because we have people that are just trying to live a better life. The only problem with that is we got people that are in this country already trying to live a better life who are not getting a whole lot of help doing that. Yeah. In fact, we had a system set up that made it harder for certain ones of us to live a better life right here in this country. Meanwhile, we were paying taxes and doing all that shit. So, I don't expect him to understand that. I don't expect anybody really to just naturally get it. But we gotta start understanding it. We gotta understand it's okay to be like, you know what? Our situation's different than anybody else in this country that comes. This young man, this beautiful young man, this bright young man, his family came here for a better life. And I don't have any grudge towards them at all. But Biden letting in 10 million people. 10 million people. That's a modest estimate. Some people say it was more. Where they gonna go? Where they gonna work? Who are they gonna compete with? America's very discriminatory towards Black Americans. I know we got people that think it's not true because they say Beyonce sold a lot of tickets. And remember that Kendrick Lamar song? Yeah, those are singers and dancers, not neighbors. Let's keep going, Johnson. I think we're almost done. Hang in there, guys. Hit the like button if this segment makes any sense to you. You got to take a look at both sides of the issue.
But for the Black community, it became very difficult because just when people were starting to hire Blacks, they hired all these Cubans instead. And so I remember Dorothy Fields saying we went from second class to third class citizens overnight, and I think that's very well said.
When they came, they got privileges that American Black coloreds didn't have. Our government was able to give them things that we didn't get. So naturally, there was this jealousy there of all these people coming to town and then able to get jobs. And most colored felt that they were taking the jobs from colored people.
The elected officials refused to address the problem. The Black elected officials refused to address the problem. My own congressman refuses to address the problem. And I think the problem is Black folks see all minorities as allies. And this is not the case. These people are not here for our common good. They're here for their own good. Where I don't have any ill will towards anybody, I also want to look out for my race. I'm a Black American. I've never used a hyphen. But I will refuse to turn my back on my race and see what's going on in South Central to my people and let these people come in here and just take over. I'm not going to sit back and watch it. And I think it's a terrible thing, a horrendous thing for anybody to see this going on and say, well, he's a minority like me, so I won't speak up. I don't care where he comes from. The key to this whole thing is stop the denial, stop the alliances of, in other words, he's a minority like me, so I can't speak up against him. If this was white folks blacks committing these lynchings to us in South Central, what's going on, there would be an outrage in this country. We have had firebombs thrown through windows. We have had people's cars burned in the driveway because they happened to move into the wrong communities. We had a lady who moved to East LA, came to the state from the South, not knowing what East LA was. It was an all-Hispanic community. She wasn't there one day. We had another man who was burned out of his house in Torrance last year. We had 5 murders in Hawaiian Gardens just because the people were black. This would not be tolerated if this was white on black crime. But the fact that these people come here, and it's the numbers, sir, it's the numbers. They come here in the numbers, they build up the Hispanic community, and they get this sense of power against us. And there are race riots in the schools every day in Los Angeles. It never makes the media. The black kids are being run out of the schools every day and told to go back to Africa. It never makes the media. We are having people who are being discriminated against on every avenue of society, economic, schools, even in our prisons now. They have drawn lines, and our prisoners in California are being beat and harassed and raped by Hispanic gang members who recently arrived here because of the numbers. My answer to you, sir, would be we don't need any new laws. Enforce the ones we got.
I play that clip to remind people that this is not a new issue that we're dealing with. This has been an issue. This man, he stated as he stated, this is something that's been going on. He could get any movement out of his congressperson. Sounds the same way it is now. He could get the media to cover it. They sure won't. They sure won't. But hey, Tyler Perry got a new movie coming out. You guys need to go support it. Oh, you got to go see Cougar's new movie. Yeah, you got to go see Sinners. You got to go. Hey, look at Spike Lee over there. Oh, look at Shaq. Look at Steph look Steph Curry. Look at this. Look at that. Look at the shiny objects. And that's all they want us to focus on. And I get it. I get it. I'm frustrated as hell, even as I experience it, as I go through it. As I go through looking at what the media does, what they cover. People that you would think would be allies, they're not. And I just think it's just a wanting, a longing that people have to have allies. They want to make anybody an ally. The young man whose tape I just played before I got to this segment, this part, he told you, man, he here to help his family. Is he like, yo, sorry, black people. Sorry, man. I care about these black people. Sorry they're going through these things. Because I feel bad. Did he sound like he felt bad at all? Nah, he's worried about his family. And you know what? All people have to have a duty to their families. Have a duty to my family. That young man who came here, his parents brought him here when he was 7, they have a duty to him. They made a decision they were coming to America for a better life. And they have a duty to their child. And then, guess what? And those people are not willing to not take an opportunity because some worker would rather hire them than my black ass. They're not going to turn that opportunity to go, oh, no, but what about the dark-skinned blacks over here that you could hire? Won't you hire them? Don't let us jump the line. No, because they're looking out for their best interests. The only people that get demonized for looking out for their own best interests, well, there's 2 groups. One is the Jewish people. They get demonized for that. But somehow they overcome it because they got so much power and money. Black people get demonized for the same thing. But we have no power and no money. Just people using us to make themselves powerful and make money. See the difference? I know you do. Now go tell everybody you know. Because until we stand up and have the guts and hold people accountable, regardless of what color they are. I sat right here in this studio on a live stream with Van Lathan, and he told me how I should be nicer to black people who sell us out, who throw black people under the bus, how I should not confront them, how they are black and we should not be calling them out. He thinks I do it for money. No, I do it because you are betraying your people. And without your cosign, without the cosign of the elites, the popular, the famous black people that do it, we'd have a better chance of winning. Because America is counting on you selling out. All right, folks, that's it. That's all I got. I'm Tim Black. Thank you for tuning in to the Tim Black Show. It's always my pleasure to try to give some information out. I hope you find it valuable. Remember, you can find me at timblackconsulting.com if you want to have additional conversations. This show is also brought to you by softwarmclassic.com. Pick up your Juneteenth apparel at softwarmclassic.com. Where's my comment section, man? Where my people at? All right now. Who's in his house? Okay, people, okay. Black Rose, thank you, Black Rose. I appreciate you. Sony said call him out. I appreciate you too. Crystal Lynn again. I agree. We got to look out for ourselves. Ebony says that part. The fear that people show when we are just gathering is astounding. Trust no parties in the house. Thank you. Diamond G loves it. Katrina Watson, good to see you, Katrina, my sister. RC Addicts. I'm trying to tell you, man, when when I have the idea what my monologue or closing might be, just to know it resonates with you. Because it's not for everybody, man. I'm sure there are people that are watching their jaws drop and say, I ain't watching this guy no more. He's divisive. And that's okay. But as long as I got you guys, the ones that it resonates with, who understand it, that means the world, man, for real. Real talk, man. So thank y'all, man. Thank you so much. Self-preservation is a must. Army of Benson says, I've been out of the office. Yo. I never heard Maxine want to say anything about any of this, but she can speak for the people who were terrorizing black people. She should. Yo, I was thinking the same thing, because South Central, that's her. This same representative that was not doing shit for him is not doing shit for South Central now. But you know what she is doing? Going to bat for immigrants. Yeah. She was doing that then. Yep. My address. All right, family, that's all I got, man. I'm scrolling, man. It is very upsetting that StreamYard will not show me super chats. And I just hope that when you put them in, that people paid attention and that your voices were amplified. Yeah. Brandon Johnson is not getting any love in my comment section. Yeah. Damn. He talked a good game, didn't he? Did he sound like Westmore? That's why I say, man, there are a lot of people on the Westmore train. I'm not. No, I'm not. Because I know. I know. That brother wants a future. As long as you want a future, they got you. They got you. As long as they know you want something, they got you. All right, family, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Remember, like I always say, don't let anybody take your cornbread. Keep your cornbread. It was real short. It was like 16 seconds, LJ. LJ said, no, not him, man. Not Brandon Johnson, no. That's hilarious. That really is hilarious, man. Not him. All right. All right, we good. Okay, guys, I'm good. Thank you guys for all you do for coming through. Remember, don't let anybody take your cornbread. And as always, be here tomorrow. We're going to close out the week strong. Where's my ladies? Where's my ladies? There they go.